Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. Overnight, Moscow launched more than 100 drones against Ukraine. Ukrainian air defense forces managed to shoot down most of them, with authorities reporting that 27 strike drones hit 23 different locations. The southern region of Zaporizhia came under one of the heaviest drone attacks in recent weeks, with Russian forces striking the city 9 times. Dozens of residential buildings were damaged and a shopping center caught fire. According to the regional governor, a significant number of aerial targets were destroyed by air defense systems before reaching the city, which helped prevent new civilian casualties. Around 30 people remain hospitalized in Zaporizhia after injuries sustained during earlier large-scale attacks. Now, in neighboring Kherson, Russian forces targeted an emergency medical crew assisting wounded civilians following a previous strike. The ambulance driver was injured in the attack. Meanwhile, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine rejected Russian accusations that Ukrainian forces struck a hotel and cafe in the village of Horli in the Russian-occupied part of the Kherson region. A spokesperson said Ukrainian forces conduct strikes exclusively against military targets and fuel and energy facilities, in line with international humanitarian law. Now, the statement also stressed that Russia has repeatedly used disinformation to influence the international community and ongoing peace efforts. On Thursday, the Russian-installed governor of the occupied Kherson region, Vladimir Saldo, claimed Ukrainian forces hit a hotel and cafe in Horli using drones. He initially said 24 people were killed, later revised by Russia's investigative committee to 27, with 31 people hospitalized, including 5 children, allegedly. Now, turning to the Frontline situation, the Ukrainian defense-linked open-source intelligence project Deep State reported that Russia occupied 4,336 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory in 2025, which is about 0.72% of the country. From the 1st of January 2023 to the 1st of January 2026, Russia gained roughly 7,463 square kilometers, or 1.28% of Ukraine's territory. Analysts note that 2025 was one of the most difficult years for Ukraine's defense forces. The Luhansk region is now almost fully occupied, followed by the Donetsk region, where about 78% is under Russian control. In the southern Kherson and Zaporizhia regions, roughly 75% of the territory has been occupied since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Now, Deep State concludes that in total, Russia currently occupies 116,165 square kilometers of Ukrainian land, approximately 19.25% of the territory of the entire country. All right, it's way past Halloween, but want to hear a rising from the grave kind of story? On the 27th of December, the Russian Volunteer Corps announced that its unit commander had been killed in the Zaporizhia region as a result of an FPV drone attack. His name was Danis Kapustin, also known as Denis Nikitin or White Rex, and for a few days he was apparently dead as a doorknob, except after that he wasn't. Apparently, despite earlier statements, Kapustin is alive and well, and by rising from the grave, he also made the Ukrainian intelligence a cool $500,000. Imagine that. Okay, it's time to explain what this is about. According to Ukraine's main intelligence directorate, the story began with Russian special services ordering Kapustin's assassination. They were so eager to get rid of the rogue commander fighting on the side of Ukraine against the Kremlin regime that they were happy to fork out $500,000 for the privilege. In response, Ukrainian intelligence conducted a multi-stage special operation lasting over a month. Its goal was not only to save Kapustin's life, but also to identify the circle of those who ordered and carried out the crime, or at least tried to, because evidently the hit ended up being downgraded to attempted homicide. now that we know Kapustin isn't going to the great hereafter anytime soon.
Здравия желаю и с Новым годом. Состоянием на сейчас, на 1 января 2026 года, все подразделения русского добровольческого корпуса в составе спецподразделения Тимура продолжают выполнять задачи на определенных вами участках и направлениях. Временное мое отсутствие никак не повлияло на качество и успех реализации боевых задач. Готов выдвигаться в район выполнения и продолжать командовать подразделениями РДК.
Ну що ж, перш за все, пане Денис, вітаю вас, як то кажуть, з поверненням до життя. Це завжди, мабуть, приємно. Да, я радий, що кошти, отримані, скажімо так, за замовлення вашої ліквідації, пішли на допомогу нашій боротьбі.
A separate detail of this story is that the funds allocated by the Russian Federation for the assassination attempt ended up in the hands of Ukrainian intelligence and were used to support the fight against the aggressor. The head of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Kirill Budanov, personally congratulated Kapustin on his return to life, emphasizing the symbolism of the failure of the Russian operation. And a major failure at that. Imagine splashing out on fancy assassins only to find out your target walks free and the money ended up with Ukrainian spies instead. Some Russian intelligence people, no doubt, will be tearing their hair out in frustration after this. Now, moving on. In Belarus, the Oreshnik missile system was publicly demonstrated for the first time. According to the organizers, it has already been put on combat duty. Now, the statement does not specify the location of the complex or the number of Russian military personnel serving there. According to the statement, specialists in combat launch, communications, protection and power supply, as well as mechanics and drivers of the missile complex units, underwent retraining before going on combat duty. The Belarusian Ministry of Defense noted that the complex, and I quote, is capable of hitting targets at a distance of up to 5,000 kilometers, can be armed with both conventional and special, read nuclear warheads, and can be launched from any point along the combat patrol route.
Приказываю на боевое дежурство заступить!
Ракетный комплекс заступил на боевое дежурство своевременно. Личный состав слажен, расчеты подготовлены. Боевое дежурство организовано, несется в соответствии с руководящими документами. Мы осваиваем новые районы боепатрулирования, проводится разведка новых районов. На них проводятся плановые занятия в соответствии с поставленными задачами. В ежедневном, еженедельном цикле проводятся занятия по боевой подготовке, по тактической подготовке, тактико-специальной подготовке. Личный состав свой профессионализм уже доказал в деле в ходе плановых занятий.
The sky above Ukrainian city of Chornomorsk turned into an arena for aerial hunting. Let's take a look at this one. At low altitude, a Ukrainian Air Force fighter jet pursued a Russian strike UAV that was attempting to break through to its target. The enemy drone was flying low to avoid the radar, but it was detected and intercepted. Every second of this chase was a fight for the lives of civilians in Ukraine and the safety of the coastal city. And with this, we end this edition of Military Mind. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.